No, absolutely. And I apologize for not having pressed that recording button sooner. But everybody, please definitely introduce yourselves. We're going to go ahead and get started with our event for today because we have two amazing facilitators who are going to lead our entire workshop and mastermind. If you all are not familiar with masterminds, I will say for me personally, they are some of my favorite just things to plug into as a business owner and business leader. Before we get into it, I do want to make two really quick announcements. This is being hosted by our Training and Professional Development Committee. Let me give a quick shout out to all of our committee leaders who are online with us right now. Thank you all for all the hard work this year, and we are slowly wrapping up our committee year. So we have two more events planned for this calendar year, 2024. The first will be in October, October 17th. And that's going to be a live session. So we had a really good session about 2 months ago with some strategies around LinkedIn and Alignable. We're going to do a live version of that. So please keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks when we start posting about that. But we love to invite you all for some networking. And then our coaches, our leaders for that event are going to literally sit down with you, talk about LinkedIn best practices. We could talk Alignable best practices as well if that's valuable, and help you build profiles that will attract your target customers and clients. So again, keep an eye out for that. And then in November, we're going to talk about tax strategies ahead of the holidays. So we don't want you all spending all your money on gifts and family. We want to make sure you're doing the right thing to set appropriate dollars aside for taxes, because we know that is one of the biggest risks to small businesses. So just want to make those quick shout outs. Let me know any thoughts or any questions in the chat as we get into our event. And now, just to quickly introduce our facilitators. So first up, we have Demetra Moore. So Demetra is a leadership development expert and CEO of More Out of Life LLC. And within her business, she's empowering transformation. So she's helping individuals and teams reach their full potential, unlocking their strengths and achieving breakthroughs that they never thought possible before, which makes her an exceptional leader for our mastermind event today. We also have Dr. Lisa. Dr. Lisa is Dr. Lisa. I think I've only been calling you Dr. Lisa since we've connected. So forgive me for not even having your last name pulled up. I didn't realize until I had your bio right here. But Dr. Lisa, nonetheless, is the founder and CEO of Street MarTech, and she's coming with over 15 years of experience with online learning, digital marketing, and small business operations. So she is an exceptional coach and talent for all things small business, but she's passionate about extending the life of small businesses, local businesses, and nonprofits using strategic planning and helping them get more customers, nurture loyalty, and grow their businesses. So again, y'all, we have two fantastic leaders for our conversation today. They are also both members of our TPD committee. So Dr. Lisa, Demetra, I am turning the show over to you all. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you, Jarvis. And yeah, I mean, I like to say I'm excited about it and we're ready to get started, right, Dr. Lisa?
We are. All right.
All right,
I'm gonna put us up here. All right, Demetra, why don't you start us off?
all righty. So today, guys, you know that, of course, we're talking about time management. Time management is, I like to say, it's a mountain for all business owners, right? Everybody's trying to climb and figure out how to best manage time because time equates to what? Money. And if you can be disciplined with your time, you can better manage your money and be able to scale in your business. So that's pretty much my introduction to it. Dr. Lisa, did I leave anything out?
No, you know what? When we talk about time management, we always, oh, I've got to manage my time better. I've got to do more things. I've got to do this. And then we go straight to the hacks and we haven't committed to actually achieving anything yet. So what we're going to go through today, we're going to talk about commitment,
Right.
line those up with your values and how that then translates into using your time so you can make more money.
Absolutely. Oh, this is a good one. So we know you guys see the screen, so we're not going to read it to you. But if you had that extra hour, what would you do with it? Please share it in the chat. We are curious to hear how you think you could best use that hour. I know for me, I think I'd do some more organization, maybe some more color coding on my calendar, things to give me reminders. I see somebody said they do more work. Somebody said sleeping, organization. I know I see ride my bike, network. All of these are great responses.
Mhm.
But the one thing I didn't see, Dr. Lisa, was commitment or discipline.
I did not. So we have a lot of resolutions that we make at the beginning of the year that kind of sort of sound like our ideal self sometime down the line, but maybe by April we'll catch up.
Right.
And
Right.
so I want to know, it's September. How you looking?
Right. On all those goals you put in place in January. We
Mhm.
got 2 weeks left in this month. And if you're really looking at business days left in the year, it's not 90 days. So based on where you thought you were going to be in January, where are you now? And if you want to share, this is a safe space. I'm
This
intrigued
is
to
no
see,
judgment,
okay,
no
somebody
judgment.
said 0 to 3, okay? Anybody else? And I'll even give you a scale, 10 being I'm on point, 1 being I have no idea where I am right now. Where are you? Okay, we got some.
Okay, come on, 9.
Okay,
Okay, I see a 2, I see a 4,
I see some
8.
8.
Eight's good.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm probably at a 6. So just because we're leading doesn't mean that we're all the way there.
Right.
Perfection is a journey.
Oh, I see somebody said I have 3 goals and I accomplished 0. That is there. It is so many people in that boat because they don't have the processes in place to create the discipline to commit to reaching the goal. So awesome. I see a few more in there. I see some 5s.
Mhm.
And I know I'm probably about a 6 too, Dr. Lisa, and that's being total transparent since this is a safe space.
Hey, life is gonna life,
Yeah.
and there's gonna be transitions, and there's gonna be things that pop up that you don't expect. So, okay, okay, 7. So what we want is for you to identify where you are, be honest with yourself, so that now, as you move to the next step, you can actually make a commitment that's going to mean enough to you that you choose to stick to it in the face of other things.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll move
All right, the 12-week year. I guess I'll ask, has anyone heard of the 12-week year? If so, give me a thumbs up in the chat. I'm intrigued. This is one of my favorite books. And if you haven't read it, oh, I see a thumbs up. I see some. Okay. This book, it is in the process of changing my life. I can't say it changed my life. It's in the process of changing my life. And I'll share a little bit. And of course, Dr. Lisa's reading the book right now, so she has her own personal story with it. This book takes us away from the 6-month increments. We love to say, oh, within 6 months, I'm going to do this. And then by the end of the year, I'm going to do this. But if studies have shown that most businesses are most successful in the last 90 days of the year. Now you wonder, why is that? And it's because people want to quote unquote finish the year strong. Well, what if we looked at each quarter of the year in the same facet we look at the last quarter of the year? How much more productive would you be? That is the premise of the 12-week year. It allows us to look at 12 weeks as being 1 year. So imagine if 12 weeks were a year, what would your week weigh now? Because it's not just 7 days anymore. What would your day equate to? And what would your hour equate to? So I just want to toss it out there. Dr. Lisa, I'll leave it so you can add your thoughts to it as well.
So in my case, since I'm so strict with my calendar, the 12-week year was like, oh, partially confirmation and partially, okay, wait, you're not really as good at this as you think you are. Because you can start when you give yourself too much time, or as I say, too much grace, it gets easier and easier to push things off and push things off. And then some things that you need a solid foundation for, like marketing, it never happens. 12 weeks never starts, but the 6 months never starts because it's always going to start next week until the last 90 days of the year. And now it's Black Friday. Now you're getting ready for Black Friday, and that's as important as it gets, right?
Right.
So for me, reading the book was like, okay, well, tweak this, honor that, and be real about the boundaries that you set. And be honest with yourself about what you actually can do with that extra hour a day, or in the 24 you got today.
Right. And Dr. Lisa, one thing I'll add, there was a lot of comments in the chat about networking, organization, doing all these things, but there's no metrics to it. So I can't even quantify what I'm doing. So for example, with the 12-week year, if you were going to network, and I'm totally using this as an example, what does that even mean? Does that mean I picked up the phone and I call somebody? Does that mean I attend an event? Because you don't have a true sense of intention around your time. So if I'm networking, for example, for me, my goal is 2 networking events a week. That could be virtual, that could be in person. But as long as I know what I'm trying to measure, I can be more intentional with the time. So I'm hoping that makes sense. If it does, please put a comment in the chat. We got to be more specific in what we're trying to do, because right now it's just a vague shot in the dark. And in regards to organization, what does that mean? Am I going to, organize my office? Do I need to get my calendar running like Dr. Lisa with all these colors on it? Like, what do I need to do to be more organized? Because that overarching goal has steps underneath. And if we don't break down the steps underneath, we can't measure the goal, which means our time is not being used wisely. So I'm hoping that I see some comments that is making sense. That's where we're missing the target. We're not breaking down the goal. It just says organization. It just says go to bed earlier, exercise more, but there's no target in place. So we must create ways to have metrics for short wins. And I read in Atomic Habits, because I'm an avid reader of like professional development books, 1% a week. If you can make 1% a week improvement over 52 weeks, and 1% is the minimum. And I know we have some really striving entrepreneurs on this call. 1% a week, we could do that. So we're not asking you to take the 12-week year and read it all and change your life tomorrow. I saw some comments in there that it is very challenging to make this big change. But if you just implement one thing, it will continue to impact the other areas of your life. So short-term wins is the key, and consistency, all of the things you guys are putting in the chat.
And when you identify those metrics, those wins make sense. You can check that off, and you can get that dopamine hit that says, I did it.
Right. Ooh. Build your time management plan. Now, when Dr. Lisa and I were working on this, because we're both, working on time management, and we were like, the saying says iron sharpens iron, right? We were looking at SMART goals and we're like, nope, don't like it. Nope, don't want to do it. SMART goals stresses me out. And I'm just being totally honest with you, because it never factors in the part that life happens and what am I really willing to commit to. It never asks that. It doesn't. So when we were talking about models, I don't know if any of you have heard of the GROW model, but it allows you to really assess where you are and what options you want to explore, because when you say things like I shoulda, I need to, I have to, it takes away your power of choice, which then impacts how you look at it. Now you're like, God, I don't want to do that, but I have to. And then your brain is spiraling like, God, I don't want to do it. And you just go around and actually get nothing done. So change the language around it, and really, which changes your total approach to how you manage time in the task that may not be your favorite. So you want to look at the goal, as we talked about earlier, reality. That's why we asked you where you are right now in regards to scaling that. We got to be truthful. And the other thing is, what options can you explore and what will you do? That's the consistency part, because everybody got options, everybody got goals, but everybody not moving. And the will comes with how much are you willing to change at this point in your life. So as Dr. Lisa and I were talking, and I know she's going to add her spill to it as well, but what are some things, if you, and my hope is you're willing to share it in the chat, what is one thing you're willing to change? And you can please share it with us.
And while you're answering, Demetra, I want to say that I kind of think procrastination gets a bad rap, because, oh, I got to stop procrastinating. I don't want to procrastinate. I got to get this done. And then you get the feeling that procrastination is this failing that you have. But the way that I say you deal with procrastination is understand that procrastination is the manifestation of a desire to do something else. So you have to look at what it is you think you have to do, why you're doing it, and how does that relate to the goal you're trying to accomplish? Because it may be time to pivot, but it takes honesty with yourself to recognize that.
Right.
And that will affect what you're willing to do.
Right. And Dr. Lisa, I will say this: willing is such a powerful word, right? Because you get to choose. And if you start really paying attention to the things that you say every day, a lot of it is I have to, I need to, I got to, and then you absolutely do nothing. And then when you do it, it's begrudgingly. Then you hate it. And then you're like, okay, well, this next thing I got to do, I'm mentally drained, and nothing happens, right? So make a list of some of the goals that you all want to work on, and really think about where you are right now. And what does it take to actually reach that overarching goal? That's where it starts. Most people just want to jump into the action. Well, the action can't change until your approach does. So
I see that Trish is willing to commit to communicate with her family on where her time will be directed, and to stick to those commitments. Okay.
Right. And I see somebody said finding a partner. Yes. You want to find someone that's not going to just say, oh, it's okay that you didn't get your stuff done. It's not okay that you didn't get it done. And I will be transparent that life will happen. I know Dr. Lisa said that earlier. It will. For this entire month, I have been traveling every weekend. My mom has been ill, so I've been going back and forth managing that. I wasn't able to manage my calendar like I typically do, but I can tell you, I was still moving along. There were things that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't get this done. But because I had an original plan in place, I was able to make the necessary adjustments. And the same thing with you all. Life will happen. But if you start with the foundation, you're able to, manage those changes a lot better than just tossing everything out of the window and starting back over. So I will challenge you to even look at how you're managing your calendars. What does that look like? Right? When you don't have meetings, I'll go back to the grow model. What will you do next? If you don't have the list, you probably don't know.
And when you do things like start using your calendar or commit to using your calendar, you've got to acknowledge that when you're changing your habits, there's going to be some discomfort. And when you take that discomfort and work through it, instead of letting the setback set you off the path, when you just keep up with it, face it when you miss a commitment. Don't just say, okay, well, I'll catch it next time. Face the missing commitment. And a lot of times the commitments we miss the most are the ones we're making to ourselves. So the boundaries that you're setting for yourself so that you can work, so you can direct your energies where you want them to go. Your boundaries only matter if you enforce them. And then they only gonna work if you respect them.
Right.
Because if you don't respect your boundaries, no one else is going, and time belongs to everybody but you. So when you think about the tactics that we're going to go into, remember that with yourself.
I see some people willing to delegate. I see some people looking for accountability partners. Someone talked about distractions. Oh, that's a good one, Trish. Distractions. Let me know if you could get somewhere where you don't have them, but it comes with discipline, right? We got the pings from our phone. We got the notifications showing up. We got people calling and texting. In the book of in the 12-week year, it talks about the two things that I started implementing were the times that I checked emails. And I really had to utilize the GROW model to go through the process of how I want to check my emails. We can stay logged in emails all day, which you probably won't get anything done because you're constantly responding to emails. Or you could set a time. I check my emails when I log in the morning around 8:30. I check my emails just before I go grab lunch around 12:30. And then I look at them again around 3:30. That goes back to the time blocking, right? What will you commit to? And that was the biggest change for me when I read the 12-week year, because it gave me my time back. And it allowed me to have a turnaround time for my emails. 24 to 48 hours, I will respond to you. I can't respond to you every 5 minutes. So you want to make sure that you're setting time blocks for you to be able to be efficient with the things that you're doing. And the other thing that was a big time waste for me was TV and my cell phone. Now, for me now, I've worked to the place where I only watch TV on the weekends. That was a process, y'all. Okay. I'm not trying to tell you that was a process. But I had to put those parameters in place so I could get things done. And when it came to my cell phone, you guys know the infamous scrolling. You're scrolling. I don't care if it's emails, pictures, social media, you're scrolling. And you'll look up and it'll be an hour. So I'm not telling you not to scroll, but I'm telling you to look at your phone and see how much time you're using it. Every phone will let you know how much time you spent. And I talked to someone the other day. They said they spent 12 hours on their phone. And I'm like, wow, 12 hours? Well, look at the apps and you'll see which ones you were on, because it'll tell you. So you want to really start thinking about how you're using it. And everybody has a smartphone, so you're able to inventory that time. And I would challenge you to start setting alarms. If you want to scroll social media, whatever that time is, 20 minutes, whatever, set the alarm. When the alarm dings, you shut it down. So that way you gave yourself the opportunity to do something you enjoy, but you're still staying disciplined enough to do the things that you need to do for your business. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, I have challenges with time blocking, prioritizing work. I manage my time by creating work schedules and clocking myself. Yes, you want to set reminders. You want to utilize, we have smartphones. They're like computers, guys. Use the features that we have to better manage our time and to stop having so many distractions. Dr. Lisa, I can't see the screen anymore. If not, I can share mine if hers is
Yeah,
acting
let's go.
weird.
Yeah, you might, I think I need you to pick
Got
up
it.
the share.
Not a problem. Let me go over here. And let me go to slideshow and play. Oh, sorry, that's not where I meant to play from, but I can get there. All right, we were right here. Can you guys see? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. So, Dr. Lisa, did you want to add anything to the time blocking?
For me, it's really a matter of taking my color coding in real life. So I do a lot of the same things, except that it may not be quite as rigid as the same time every day. But if I want what I do,
Oh, Dr. Lisa, you're breaking up. Well, I'll share Jarvis until she comes back. So what you want to do is really create some space for looking at the things you need to accomplish. I see in the chat, some of you have kids, some of you have work. You still want to get to a place where you're blocking off time for it. And I'm not going to tell you to change your life tomorrow. You may start with 30-minute windows of reflection time for what you need to do for the next day. Because when we plan to fail, we're just going to spiral out. We don't have anything to guide us, if that makes sense. So you could start with maybe 30 days. I'm sorry, 30 minutes of planning. Some people do it at the end of the day. And I'm not meaning the end of the actual day. Some of you work, it may be 30 minutes you need to carve out before you leave. It may be 30 minutes you take away on your lunchtime. And again, we have these smart devices. We have voice messages that we could use to record things. Whatever that is, we got to use our resources to get us to that place where we're managing more time. And Dr. Lisa, I see you're back. You can go ahead and finish. Uh-oh, I think she's frozen. Dr. Lisa, you can go ahead.
I don't know how long I'm going to be here.
Go ahead.
Me and Comcast are duking it out right here. So I take my color coding, as I said, and make it real life. And I'm okay with flexibility in my schedule. But once I've decided to go into a meeting, me and Do Not Disturb are together. And that keeps those distractions to a minimum. So I don't get the dings. I don't get the emails until after that block of time is done.
Awesome. All right. So you know what, before I flip to the next slide, who in here is actually using a planner or a digital calendar to fully plan out those times in your day, be it private time, time to sleep, whatever that is? Who's using the digital calendar? Okay, I see some people saying me. I see the thumbs up. All right. So I'm going to ask you this on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being I use every feature on there and 1 being I use absolutely nothing. Where are you in regards to the features that you're using on your phone and on your digital calendars? We see some 10s. Okay. Okay, I see somebody say they set alarms. Okay, Dr. Lisa, I see we got some variation in there.
Yeah, but doing pretty well on using our digital calendars.
Okay, I see looking to learn about email notifications. Okay, all of those things are great that you want to learn about. You need those, but it starts at the beginning with the commitment and the discipline to it, because if not, you're going to revert right back to the same behaviors. So you want to use what we call habit cues, right? You want to stack those habits. So for those who want to work on, and I'm totally making this up, for email notifications, you may want to, when you check your emails, You may need to set up file folders to route the emails to certain folders so you know exactly where you're going to look for certain things. You may want to manage those notifications, like Dr. Lisa was saying. If you don't need all those pings during the day when you're trying to work, then you might want to turn them off. So you got to learn how to utilize all the features that will be most helpful to you so you can have the support you need. Yes, we want accountability partners, and that's great, but utilizing the resources that you already have and may be paying for is what you want to start doing as well. Okay, somebody said, what are some of the things we can do to shut down our thoughts at night? Oh, okay. I'll share my 2 cents and I'll let Dr. Lisa share. For the thoughts at night, for me, I typically stop my day, and I'm not going to tell you it stops at 6 o'clock. No, it doesn't. Last night it stopped at 8. But what I do tell you is that I listen to green noise. Some people have the Calm app. Green noise is a good one. There are times when I have so much work to do at times, I'll have a cup of sleepy tea, and because at that moment I'm giving myself time to calm down, turn off the notifications. And I know some of you, like, I have kids and this and that, but there's I say resources on your phone where you can set exceptions for family members when they're able to get through the do not disturb and all of that. But all of those other notifications, you don't need those. Turn those off, and you got to give yourself time to calm down. And this may be your time to brain dump. So if you're not writing things down, I saw somebody say they use their handy dandy little tablet. You might want to use your voice notes in your phone, because sometimes writing can agitate you, like, oh my God, I got to write this thing down. You just need to get it out of your head. And whatever that looks like, either recording it, and for those who feel the need to write, whatever that is, brain dump, so you can have a process for tomorrow. But what's happening is you're not dumping it, and you're just carrying it over and over, and you're not able to rest. So I'm hoping that makes sense.
And my evening routine is similar. So I have 3 full-time jobs and I still find a way to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night, because I'll be worthless if the next day if I can't. So I all Android everything. Me and Google are tight. So I see someone else uses the do not disturb that kicks in automatically at the end of the night. So between the do not disturb, my phone goes on sleep mode, so I don't get notifications until the next morning. I have Spotify. I have a couple of Zen, a couple of Zen playlists that help me. And I read. I know that the best practice is to not look at a screen, but that's where books are, so that's where I'm reading. But I do almost the same thing every night. So I come up, I go upstairs, I read for a little bit, or I watch a little bit of TV. And then my body is used to this, is used to the, I'll tell you about the 3 full-time jobs in a second. My body is used to my routine. So I've built the habit, so the muscle memory is there. Even if I'm trying to stay awake, I'm a morning person, I'm gonna get up early, and my body's gonna say, hey, it's knock it down time. So don't try to start anything new. But it wasn't immediate, that routine. I had to schedule it at first and then get used to doing it. And now my body responds the same way, mostly the same way. Because now if I need to stay up late, it's going to take another round of black tea. But routine helps.
Got it.
And Charles, I'll tell you about the 3 full-time jobs in the chat. But between the do not disturb mode and the routine, that's how I shut my brain off, so that I'm not solving 3 jobs worth of problems instead of, shutting down.
Got it. We Dr. Lisa, I wanted to open it to see what others are thinking right now in regards to them using apps or things that they're willing to implement going forward.
Sure.
Anybody want to share anything? Okay, I'm looking. Oh, somebody got some colors in the chat.
Yeah, I see a color. I see more colors than I have on my calendar in there.
All right, I see habits and routines are critical to success. That is absolutely true, Kevin. It is. I know you guys don't know this about me, but I taught aerobics for 8 years at the YMCA, and my class will be full in January. Everybody gonna lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks, and they're gonna be getting ready for their summer body, right? By the time we got to MLK Day, my class was half the size. By the time Valentine's Day came, it was right back to the normal 15 people. And it was because the actions changed, but the mindset didn't. So that is the key. The commitment to the mindset and the discipline is the key to getting to the overarching goal. So definitely, Kevin, you hit the nail on the head with that. Anybody want to share anything that they're willing to take away or app that works great for them and may be able to help some others in the group? Okay.
Hey, this is Loria. I'm just gonna pop in real quick. So I have not really started to use it. I just dropped my current block, my time block schedule. It's very chaotic. Every time I look at it, the majority of my time and the consistency goes to my full-time job, and then everything else is broken up with my personal business and life. But there is one that's similar to Motion. It's called Stat, and it's not as costly. I have it, but I have not fully transitioned. Right now, I have 4 calendars, personal life, personal business, full-time employment, and then one that kind of merges them all together. So I would like to have a better way to merge them collectively, because it's a lot having 4 different calendars. So yeah, but I would recommend Stacked. If it's not free, it's like $18 for like the year. It's very inexpensive. It's just if you have someone that can help you get everything into one, because that's a time consuming task in itself, just putting everything in there. So that's my little bit of tea for the
Google
day.
Calendar will allow you to have multiple calendars and see them all in one screen. You think it'll be helpful for me to show mine?
Oh, sure.
Please share.
Let me stop sharing. Then you can share. Okay.
All right. So this is a slow week for me. And each color activity corresponds to a different calendar. So green is client appointments. You see that I schedule lunch, because if it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. And it never happened. I don't know nothing about it. Then I have client meetings in orange. I have my son picking up my son. That commute is there in blue. Client think time, which is different than an appointment. Support tickets for our clients. And so what I do is everything's got its own calendar so that I can see everything happening over time. And I have a realistic, including my personal, a realistic of what I'm actually available for. So if I wanted to go to lunch with friends or dinner with friends, that's going on the calendar. In fact, I've got brunch on Sunday, and I put that on my main calendar so that I don't put extra weekend work in there. And so this is part of Workspace, but this color coding, including I didn't go, helps me to stay on track for my business, my clients' businesses, and my responsibilities to them. And this is all through Google Calendar. It is available on the consumer version. You do not have to have workspace for that, but having multiple calendars is one way to organize everything together and make sure you're staying within the 8 to 12 hours of actual workday that you give yourself.
That was good, Dr. Lisa, especially all the colors. And you were using Google Suite, right?
Yes, we use Google Workspace in our office, but it is available in your regular Gmail. You can use Google Calendar there. You can color code. You might not have quite as much detail, but you absolutely can. So you do not have to start a Workspace subscription. Although I recommend it if you've got a team.
Got it.
If it's just you, you can go ahead and use your regular Gmail for that.
Okay, got it. I see Jarvis put a good one in there. And Jarvis, this is imperative that people do it. Time to think. Most time, and that's why we can't sleep, because we just keep going. You know, you want to reflect on what's going well. And of course, you know, time to measure. We definitely got to do that. And if we don't have those things to measure, then the goal, then I'll say the finish line to our goal just keeps moving. And then we begin to look at ourselves as being unsuccessful, but that's not the issue. The issue is we're not measuring. And if you can't measure it, it didn't happen. So just some things to think about. And I know we're getting close to time, so we definitely want to hear from you guys. What is one goal that someone's willing to share that they want to break down, walk away with some takeaways that they can start to implement right after this call? Need a brave soul that wants to share. And you can feel free to put them in the chat too. Oh, we got somebody. We got Kevin.
Yeah, good afternoon. I find myself overbooking, sometimes trying to fill in all the empty spaces. So my calendar often looks like doctor's calendar. But I had, like Jarvis said, I have to take some time just to leave some blanks and just refresh. So what I'll take away from here to answer your question is that I'll value myself and my time just as much as I value everybody else wanting to take up my time and space. And when doing that, I can determine what's best for me and my business and my family as well. I think that'll be important. That way I can continue to move forward and progress more effectively.
Awesome. One thing I will say, Kevin, I don't know your process for baking. And by the way, that is pretty sweet. I don't bake anything. So now I know where to find the sweet treats. But creating a process for how you want to take these appointments, right? Like, what does that even look like? What qualifies one appointment to be prioritization over another one, right? Really creating a process for that. And then again, how much does it take to prep for these things? Because if we don't have that factored in, then everything begins to run together, if that makes sense. So you might want to look at that too. I know for me, I have certain meetings or presentations. I may have a 24 to 48 hour reminder because I may need to do some other work to make sure that I'm ready for that event as it comes. So you want to make sure you give yourself that buffer time as well, so you can best prepare. Dr. Lisa, anything you want to add?
Well, I just put in the chat that rest is just as important as productivity. And if you've got to make an appointment with yourself to rest, to have some tea, to walk away from the computer, walk away from your desk and have lunch in another area of the house that is not work focused, then do that. That's away from, some time in my day myself. And I recommend that because, yes, once you get militant about your time, you're almost tempted to schedule it all away because you're super productive. But at the same time, rest is a thing you need to do. Doing nothing is productivity because your brain needs to rest and you need to give yourself the time and space to do that and protect that time as well as the same as you do your production time, your work time, your delivery time.
Awesome.
I'd love to just throw a quick thought in there as well for you, Kevin, but as you are double booking, triple booking yourself with activities, one of the things I do personally is just simply ask for whatever the activity is it aligned with my business goals? So during whatever I've notched out as my business hours, my productivity hours for the business day, if that activity is aligned with a goal, perfect. If it's not, if it's just somebody wanting to network or whatever the case is, if it's not directly, like if I can't connect it into a key goal or a key performance indicator for my business, I have to replan for that particular event. So that's just one of the things I do to help prioritize my day.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. See, we have Porter with his hand up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had my hand up. I appreciate it. I just wanted to add, just to piggyback off everybody else. First of all, thank you guys for putting this on. One of the things, with me, those of you that don't know me, I work as a security consultant. I spent 23 years with the federal government, and I started my career with the Secret Service. So I worked for several presidents. But with that said, you talk about organized, protecting our president dignitaries, you have no choice but to be organized. I don't have a military background, just went to school, played basketball in school. So it started with that, being organized, being selected as the captain of the basketball team. So that was all instilled in me during my college years, and I transferred it over to my working career. And one of the things I mentioned in the chat that, I enjoy riding my road bike. So I'm an avid cyclist, and I make sure every morning, if I'm not riding my bike, I'm doing some form of workout just to clear my mind. That helps me get organized. And I also was told years ago by my doctor that you should never have a TV in your bedroom. I mean, the room is for reading, and I'm not going to go down that road on other things, but that's what he told me per my doctor. So with that said, you talk about rest. We think we're resting, but you have that, especially today's TVs, these TVs are so bright. You have that TV going on. We're on our cell phones. Oh, let me look at this last social media clip. So how are you watching a phone and listening to TV? Your mind is just going. So turn off that TV. Hopefully you can get that TV out the room. I know a lot of people are like, no, I will not do that. But with me running my own business, it's almost like pulling teeth. If you tell me, hey, I have a 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock meeting, I love to meet with you at 7 p.m., it's almost like pulling teeth. I'm like, well, can we do this maybe like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Because by a certain time, I'm trying to shut down and unwind. And that's how I get my mind together. Because as Dr. Lisa said, I'm an early riser. So I'm out in that street and I'm getting that ride in so I can get back and get my day started. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Stacy. Anybody else? Things that they're willing to commit to starting today? Or a goal they need help with?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'll go ahead and jump out there again since I just finished. Can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are many goals that we want to accomplish, and we just can't think of it off the top of our head. But we have your contact information that we can reach out, maybe have a one-on-one. But another thing I forgot to add, I'll just add this, and I heard this a long time ago as well. Don't or go into those corners where you've cried, but go into those corners and laugh as opposed to going into those corners where you've cried. So change the narrative. Just say, okay, you know what? Today is the day. I'm not going to focus over yesterday. Let's focus on today. So I'm going to continue to go in those corners where I've cried, and I'm going to laugh. So that's how I'm going to change the narrative.
Awesome.
Well, hey, Demetra, Dr. Lisa, would it be okay? Can I take maybe 2 minutes to do a really quick exercise with everyone? And it'll slowly kind of take us out of our session today, but I think it's worthwhile if you all are willing to give me a couple of minutes. All right,
Sure.
so I just want to touch on something that the lady said at the very beginning of the presentation and the mastermind conversation today, which is time is money. So as business owners, as small business owners, where many of us might be, one person solopreneurs or maybe a small team, time is money for sure, because there's a lot we're trying to do over the course of a day, a week, a month. So if you all have pen, paper, really quickly, I love to do a quick exercise. I'm gonna make you do a little bit of math, but this exercise is just a very high level way to calculate exactly what is the cost of your hour. So I'll give you all just a quick minute, but I'm gonna walk you through it really quickly. So the very first number that you all should write down is going to be your target annual revenue. So over the course of 12 months or 12 weeks, if you do a 12-week year process, but over the course of 12 months at least, how much money do you want to make in your business? So that's the first number. The second number, and this is a number when I'm, working with my clients or talking to business owners in general, this is a number that a lot of us don't think about, but I do want to encourage you all to think about it. But the next number is how many working days do you want to work per year? So we know there's 365 days in a year. Your standard corporate year, once you kind of factor in vacations, is about 235. But as small business owners, we can define exactly how many days per year we want to work. My sweet number is 166. Like, I like taking at least 3 to 4 months off every year, right? So everybody, you got to think about how many days you want to work. The third number that I want you to write down is how many hours per day do you want to work? Again, that's a number we don't always define, right? Because if you're coming from corporate into your business, you might be used to working 10, 12, 16-hour days. You get into your business and you might start working 10, 12, 16-hour days religiously. But, from many of the takeaways in today's conversation, that's not really sustainable. So what's the real number of hours you want to work per day? 6, 4, 10, maybe? But go ahead and write that number down. So with those three numbers, the first is your target annual revenue. The second is your target days per year. And the third is how many hours per day. So now I want you to take the days per year and multiply it by the hours per day. So you should get some fairly large number, maybe. And then I want you to take that and divide it by your total, by your target annual revenue. So dollars per year over the hours per day. And then that should give you some number. And whatever that number is, that essentially is your dollars per hour value. And again, it's very high level. There's a lot of other variables we can toss into that equation, but that's a starting point. So you all now know when you burn an hour, waste an hour, when you scroll an hour, when you just choose to look at the wall for an hour, whatever it may be, there's a cost associated with it, right? So during your productive business hours, let's be very productive. Let's be very focused on what we're trying to achieve. If the things you're doing doesn't align to your goals, to generating revenue, to serving clients, it has to be brought into question so that we can continue to be successful and still leave time throughout the day, the week, the month to rest, to relax, to recuperate, to engage with family without thinking about the business, hopefully. But these are some starting points. And that exercise, the cost of an hour, that's just a good one that I use with many of my clients just to kind of get them thinking about how we spend time. So let me stop there. I hope everybody got that equation or got some initial numbers. But Demetra, Dr. Lisa, any final words before we wrap up in the next 60 seconds here?
Jarvis, they're trying to get your formula. I was trying to type out your formula. So if you can put that in the chat, I think that'll be great.
All right, let me do this. I'll share my email address. You all email me and I'll send you the slide that I usually share with many of my folks, my clients, and I'll send that over to you. Just only because of time, I know we're right there on the money at 12:30.
Okay, well, I don't have anything. If you guys have any questions, I'm putting my LinkedIn information in the chat. You guys feel free to connect. I love to, of course, get to know more about you. If I can help you with in regards to time management or anything in that nature, definitely feel free to reach out. And it was great for you giving us some of your time today.
Yes, thank you for coming. I had a great time. And I hope all of you commit to yourselves and to protecting your boundaries.
All right, ladies, thank you all so much again. ABC family, thank you all for plugging in with this event today. Thank you for all of my TPD committee members, committee leaders who are on the line with us. Thank you all for all the hard work. We do have 2 more events set for this year. So again, in October, we're going to do a live in-person meeting centered around LinkedIn, getting your LinkedIn profiles up to speed. We'll talk alignable a little bit, but definitely a focus on getting your LinkedIns to a point where you should be attracting some ideal customers or clients based on your business models. And then in November, we're doing a great session on tax strategies and tax planning ahead of the holidays so that you'll be prepared once tax season starts in the new year. Everybody, that's the end of our time today. The stuff goes super fast. So thank you all again, and take care. Stay connected and let us know what we can do more for you moving forward. Demetra, Dr. Lisa, thank you both again. That was fantastic.
All right. You guys have a great
Thank you.
week.
Take care.